Okay, I guess we're about to start. So hi there, Rhiannon. We can't hear you because we've got you muted, but
Welcome everybody to Saturdays with Tara. I'm Mary Beth at the Law of Attraction Club on the web at theloaclub.com. If you have a question or a comment, press *6. Know that we may not answer all questions if we have a lot of hands raised. Robin will be bringing through Tara for us today. So we welcome Robin and Tara. If you're on the Hangout on air, this is our introduction to the theme of the week. All of this is also being simulcast on our conference line, and we'll continue on the conference line with more discussion and Q&A after the Hangout. You're welcome to join us. So Robin and Tara, we welcome you, and over to you.
Good. And welcome to you all. So, this one was recently, read this caption on a Google pic. Worry is a waste of creative energy. Now on Google there's a lot of supposedly law of attraction messages that sound positive and sensible perhaps from a one-world perspective, but really have nothing to do with either the law of attraction or the truth of who you are. But of this particular caption, worry is a waste of creative energy, we say, indeed it is, and we would go further. Worry is negative creation. Worry is a train of thought, and it's a train that doesn't stop anywhere you want to get off. We say switch trains, and today we'll be talking about how you do that. Of course, we've heard it all. I wasn't worrying, I was feeling really good about this, and boom, the sky fell on me. I don't choose to worry, it just happens. And ultimately, of course, and this one gets our vote for the all-time worst advice, at some point you have to forget all this woo-woo stuff, face reality and do something. So let's talk about doing something, but as you might expect, we're not talking about getting into physical activity. We're talking about doing something that counts, choosing different thoughts. One of our community, Linda, was this week talking of a small group meeting she'd been trying to organise. She was out in front with this one, better prepared than she'd ever been and feeling really good about it. The first date was all organised and then it fell apart. Then the second one failed because of the big storm. Her reaction was, how could I possibly be creating this? Then she talked about trying to organise the venue a third time and was imagining all the difficulties of doing it. We said, what about what if up? How about imagining all the things that could go right? Within 24 hours, everything fell into place. We spoke again and congratulated her. She said, yes, it's great. Of course, with my track record, who knows? With my track record. Think about those words. And of course, you've all had times when you've used words just like those. What do they tell us about what Linda has back there in her belief systems, in her tapestry of expectations? It's easy to see perhaps what's going on here when you're examining this externally and after the event. But when you have a lifetime habit of creating your present by extrapolating from your past, doubts and worries can be subtle or even invisible. What does a fish know about water? What's needed here is to leave the water to get a different perspective. And that's what we're on about here today. Now, you're never going to hear us say that feeling good isn't important. It's always important, because when you feel good, you're heading in the direction you want to go. But 60 seconds or 60 minutes of what you perceive as feeling good isn't necessarily going to reweave that tapestry. If those telltale words keep popping out of your mouth, they're telling you what's really going on back there. It's an undercurrent that drags you back into a place of vulnerability and doubt. Let's start at the galaxy level, and once you've got the basic principles down, then we'll see about getting your next meeting to run smoothly. Also this week, Patrick, a program graduate here at the club, channeled the following words. Imagine the changes in a world where the energy of thought is fully understood. What a hoot. What a hoot indeed. So is it possible for you, the thinking, conscious you that's here and now engaged in this discussion and hearing these words, to fully understand the energy of thought? We say, yes, indeed it is. Of course it is. There is nothing you cannot be, do, or have. And here's the value of it. It puts you in the know. It gives you the answer to all of life's questions. And from that foundational place, there are no limits. From that place, you can step in any direction you want to go. Let's right now go together to that place. The biggest decision you ever made, you could say the first decision you ever made, was the shape of your consciousness. It's the only significant difference between you and us. We are all of us extensions of the collective consciousness of all that is. None more exalted or holy or divine than any other. It's just that the shape you have chosen is a thinking entity that's narrowly focused to one thing at a time, and a much more powerful superconscious that you train to handle all the details. This particular shape is not absolute or permanent. It's just the different perspective you've chosen for now. And it's landed you in this magnificent space-time virtual reality of yours and the experiences you are now having. Let's be clear about the role of the thinking you, the conscious you. It's made every original choice you ever made, the ones that are now stored away in what we're calling your superconscious, and mostly never thought of again. It makes all the new choices you ever make. So when do you make those new choices? 1, every time your superconscious decides you need to, and kicks the decision-making upstairs, so to speak. And 2, whenever you consciously decide you want to. Right now, choose to stop breathing for 1 second. Until we said that, you weren't conscious of your breathing. Then you made a new decision, consciously moved that boundary aside and acted upon it. Now let's look at that superconscious. It stores your tapestry of expectations, that lifetime of choices you've made about what to believe. It makes 99.99% of your decisions. You've delegated and trained it to only intermittently involve the conscious you. It handles the second-by-second deluge of information from your senses and discards most of that as irrelevant. It handles 99.99% of your actions. It talks you. It walks you. It reacts you. Without it, you couldn't function. It's the place that words like "with my track record" come from. It maintains, second by second, the physical you and the world around you. It maintains the very shape of your consciousness. Are you beginning to see how fundamental that superconscious store is to everything in your world? If you're wondering what's back in that tapestry of yours, look around you. That's what's in there. If we spent a decade or so asking you questions about every aspect of you and your life, you could tell us the whole story. After all, it was you who made those decisions and stored them. But it's not necessary or practical to revisit all of that. Just the pieces that are no longer serving you. And you can change them. When you change the tapestry, you change everything. Let's run briefly here through the key elements of how you do that. And we'll go into this in more detail in our longer discussion today and our calls this week. So changing the tapestry, the key elements. 1. Treat this as a big deal. It is. It's nothing less than your life. 2. Know who you are. Start to get the enormity of what we've been describing here. 3. Be aware of how you're feeling and then how you're thinking. 4. Make new choices. Find processes that work and use them. 5. Anticipate, revel in, and appreciate each change you make. 6. Support your conscious work with inner work, which gets back to 2 above, knowing who you are. And 7, repeat forever. That number 3, be aware, is crucial. When you're planning that new meeting, or whatever, choose, of course, to feel good before you do anything. And then set your intention to notice if and when any of those my track record type thoughts appear. This is your superconscious out of alignment with your new choices. Deal with it each and every time. Teach it new tricks. Use a process like letting go. Give it focus. Create a new habit of thought. Rewrite that tapestry. Step into a new you and a new world will appear. It must. It's your mirror. It's your twin. And now we will move to our longer discussion, where we will, as always, welcome any and all of your questions. Mary Beth, you might be muted.
So remember, if you have any questions or comments, to press *6. And if we have a lot of you raising hands, we may not get to everybody, but just hang in there. Your question will probably be answered anyway. So over to you, Robin and Tara.